Should you draft Devon Achane in fantasy football this year? Well, let's talk about it. You know, if you had told me before last year that Devon Achane would essentially morph into Alvin Kamara, I would have thought you were crazy. Okay, coming out of 2023, Devon Achane was averaging 7.8 yards per carry and was one of the most explosive backs that year. And I know that wasn't going to be sustainable. I knew that he was probably going to come back down to earth. You know, there was a lot of just freak long runs that he ripped off in 2023 that probably weren't going to be sustainable long term. But I really wasn't expecting what was going to happen to Devon Achane in 2024. In 2024, Devon Achane's yards per carry dropped from 7.8 yards per carry to 4.5, and he despite doubling his carries on the year, he only added 100 additional rushing yards. And this was mostly the product of a bad Dolphins O-line that made it incredibly difficult for him to actually run. And, you know, this sounds bad, but the fact of the matter is, Devon Achane was better last year than he was 2 years ago. And this is mostly because, as I alluded to before, he basically just turned into prime Alvin Kamara, where the rushing wasn't great, but he made up for it by catching 78 passes at 592 yards and 6 touchdowns, and essentially moonlighted as a receiver, which is just insane. Like, it's one of those cases where he wasn't a great, he wasn't bad, but he wasn't like the peak running back form you want to see, but he was a great fantasy asset. Like, he might not have been the best real-life player, but he was a great fantasy player just because, you know, in PPR and half PPR leagues, those 78 receptions are going to get you far because receptions are king. And, you know, now coming into this year, the question is, you know, who is Devon Achane? Is he the guy who ripped off those huge 70-yard touchdowns in 2023, or is he a PPR Alvin Kamara type player who's going to catch a lot of passes and, you know, he might not put up the best stat lines in real life, but he's going to, you know, dink and doink his way to 15 points off of the back of like 5 receptions a game. And, you know, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day because I think Devon Achane's going to put up a lot of points regardless of what the Dolphins decide to be this year. Like, if they manage to get back to that explosive, big play kind of team where Tua's slinging the ball and Devon Achane's able to run it, you know, good. I think that's good. But I don't think the offensive line is going to be great this year. So I think it's going to be a lot more of the Alvin Kamara type of play style where Tua's going to be just checking the ball down. And I think it's going to work out for Achane. I'm going to give him A minus. I think he's going to be a good player. I think he has top 10 RB upside, mostly off the back of just he's going to catch a lot of passes. He might not be the best real life running back, but I think he's going to be a good fantasy running back this year.